Bob and Andrew, we can all agree that season 11 was pretty epic. You had the darkness.
God.
And God. Yeah. That was pretty huge. And now the darkness is gone. So where do you go from there? I mean, how can you get bigger than God?
Other than cast somebody over 5'7" to play him. Just a thought.
Oh, it's true. It's fair. That's
Spitballing.
5'6 3/4.
I'm no writer, but
You don't get bigger than God. This year we can't top all that. So we're going to try to get back to basics a little bit. Tell little smaller stories because I don't know how you get bigger than God in tomorrow. So some good old-fashioned horror stories. We've set up the British Men of Letters. They'll be part of what we're doing. The first part of the season, we still got Lucifer out there, so there's a hunt for Lucifer.
Who?
The guy that's replacing you, Mark.
Oh.
Just as an aside, at least once a week, Mark Shepard talks to either Andrew or myself and says, Are you killing me yet?
It's a dream.
Yeah. One of these days, we're going to say yes just to really make him squirm, but not yet.
So it sounds like smaller stories this year, bringing it back to family. It's exciting. It's exciting stuff. I've enjoyed your answer, Mr. Singer. My next question is for Jared. How are you, buddy?
Good. Thanks, Robbie.
Okay, so at the end of last season, left you in quite a pickle. You were shot, and I only watched the scenes I'm in, so maybe I missed something. But are you dead?
So, as we saw, you missed the promo, yeah?
He had a call.
It was just on.
He had a thing.
I had to do a quick thing.
Thankfully, Sam Winchester is alive.
You owe me $20.
I owe Rob $20. I thought you were
Because he's not a lose Chester.
Shame on you.
You know, that bit,
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
that bit worked so well last year. I'm glad you brought it back.
I figured I'd double up. So Sam's alive, and we see a little bit of what happened to him. Thank you. I'm happy to be alive as well.
So who was the woman who shot you, and why does she have a funny accent?
So we find out more about Lady Tony Bevel. She is a member of the Men of Letters, but the British Men of Letters. We find out more about the Men of Letters and their worldwide society, basically, and we'll learn more about what she wants and what they want for themselves and from Sam and Dean and for Sam and Dean in the episodes to come. We see that they're not off to a great start, but we'll find out more about why and what happens.
Blow torches and that kind of thing.
Yeah, can do that.
Good times.
Jensen.
Present.
Family. It's always been a central issue in the show since day one, but you definitely see it coming back in big ways with the return of your mother. So, my question for you and for Jared, how are the boys going to respond to that big reveal? Because that is substantial to have that connection brought back to the show.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Well done.
Well said.
Yeah, it certainly changes a dynamic that we haven't, or presents itself with a dynamic that we haven't had in quite a while, or ever. The interesting thing is that when Mom left, Sam was a baby and Dean was a
You're a baby.
child.
You're a child.
It's funny, as Dean grew up, but
You grew
Sam
up.
Never did.
just got larger.
Larger than God, some might say.
Well,
It's okay. I'm okay with it, so I need you to be okay with it.
So there is, the children that she knew are not, they're now men, and so the relationship is kind of non-existent because there isn't one. And so it's gonna be an interesting situation of them trying to bridge that massive gap that occurred over the past 30 some odd years. Then it also brings into question, how is she going to plug herself into their lives? Is that going to leave the brothers vulnerable? For the longest time, that's really been the way to get to either one of them is, you trap or you make one suffer, and then the other one comes running. So now there's a kind of a third element in the mix that could potentially, leave the guys vulnerable, and situations might arise because of that. I will say that just, personally, it's great to have Samantha on set. She's a wonderful actress. And, so, selfishly, happy to have her back. I don't quite know where it's going to take the boys. That would be a question for the bosses here. But I'm excited to see what happens and for the journey to begin.
Well, I'd really love to get her perspective on this.
Samantha Smith, everybody.
Oh, yeah!
Hello, Samantha. To you, family, you're meeting the boys, you're re-encountering your sons, you didn't know their fate. This is a strange journey for Mary, I would assume.
Yeah, there's a lot to consider. Being dead, now alive, with a big gap in the middle. My sons are now older and taller than I am. Yes.
Wow. And handsomer than Sam Smith?
No.
Are you...
handsomer than we used to be, but she is obviously more beautiful than the both of us combined.
Yeah, damn right.
That didn't cost me that much to make him say that. But I've always loved Mary, and to be able to experience her from a whole different perspective is incredibly fun for me. And to not just be passing through as a ghost or something like that is actually really fun, just really interesting, and it could go anywhere. So I'm having a good time with that.
You know what's fun to me? One of the things that Supernatural has been so uniquely able to do is to really explore both sides of the equation, whatever the equation might be. And one of the things we deal with a lot is family, obviously. And we've had the wonderful Bob Singer say family don't end with blood. We've had additional members to the family who are neither human nor blood related. And so it's going to be an interesting dynamic to see how somebody who is our blood, 100% our blood. We've had a half brother. We've had our father for a little bit, but she's our mother, legitimately. So she's related, but we find out more about what family means and how you become family. And it's not necessarily just blood. A lot of times it's pain, it's triumphs, it's everything in between. And so I think exploring that dynamic between two brothers, but now two sons again. And not sons, Sam always had an issue with John. For obvious reasons, probably, but he dealt with it, and Dean had a different relationship. But now Sam and Dean, with their mother, are kind of starting anew. So it's like finding out you had a half brother or something you never knew, which I guess we did. So it's been a
You're going to have a hard time drawing a scenario that hasn't been
Exactly.
visited,
Like
right?
finding out you're best friends with an angel. No, wait a minute.
So it's going to be fun to explore that dynamic about does blood make you family, or is it more than just sharing the same DNA?
Right.
So Andrew, follow up to you on that. This is you're steering the ship this year, and obviously family is super important in this year's storylines, and even the core elements of family, because you're whittling it down to its most pure form when you're talking about mothers and sons.
Yeah, I think when you look at how Sam and Dean have experienced their mother, she's been mythologized to them. Dean's memories of her are spotty at best. Sam's are essentially non-existent. So they're meeting someone who they've met in the past and who they have some knowledge of, but he's not someone they really know. And from Mary's point of view, she knows these are her sons, but it's about reforging that connection. We didn't want things to come in and be super easy. But also, she has a lot in common with Sam and Dean. She was a hunter. She was raised a hunter, exactly like they were. She walked away from it, exactly like Sam did. And as we kind of go through this part of the season, she'll be coming back into it. So it's interesting for her. It's also really interesting how Sam and Dean both respond to it. Because at the same time, what Jared and Jensen have said, this is something they deeply want. But I think they, more than anybody else, understand that family can be a vulnerability. And so I think there's some protectiveness going on there too. So it's been a really fun thing to kind of play with, and then how she impacts other people as well. Somebody like Castiel, for example, he knows how important Mary and the story of Mary has been in the origin story of Sam and Dean. So he has a very specific response to her, and some really kind of a very cool dynamic I think will show as it goes forward. So yeah, I mean, that was the core for us, and that's been the core of the show, is to get back to family, and this is probably the closest we've gotten back to that since season 1.
Awesome.
Misha, what about, so you've been awful quiet. We're gonna, what about, where does the, end of last season, Lucifer was finally exorcised from your body. The Lady of Litter cast you away. Where does season 12 find you?
Cass is back to a little bit of, I think, Cass from season 4. He's got his mojo back. Much of his mojo, not all of it. I think his wings are still broken. But he's angry, and he's in a fighting spirit, and he is after Lucifer. And now that Mary is back, he's also tattletaling a lot.
So how does Mary...
There's a lot of scenes where Cass is like...
It almost reflects your actual personality then, angry and tattletale.
We do that a lot on set, too. Jared didn't hit his mark.
Misha's taking a long pause here, guys. I don't think he should. Yeah.
Jared Hitmark.
He's shy of his mark.
And so, how does Mary being back affect Cass? Is that going to play out?
I think it's... yes, it is going to play out. Well, we're having... I think that there's an interesting little dynamic between the two of us, because in a way, we're outsiders, and we are, I think, sharing something in that. And I keep on putting...
Wait, what?
Dude, he's hitting on your mom.
Good luck calling him Dad.
Your mother.
Gonna call him Dad?
I don't know how to... Yeah, anyway, so... Cass is hitting on Mary.
And what about your family? Are we going to see any of your family? Your daughter?
Vicky, West.
My children? Yeah. Who? They're now working as crew members on the show.
Good. Excellent.
Nepotism.
You know what? Earlier, I ran into an old friend who wanted to ask a question. Really? Yeah. So I wanted to sort of... That's awesome. I said he could, and...
Why, whoever could it be, Rob?
Oh, God.
Hello, you crazy peoples!
Well, hi.
How the hell are you?
Okay, we're good. What are you dressed as?
Oh yeah, you like this? You like my new accessory? Guess who I am?
Rapping sensation Pitbull?
That doesn't make any sense.
Lead singer of Judas Priest?
Close, but no cigar.
My pastor.
No!
Who?
I'm Mark Shepard from episode 1115 Beyond the Mat.
That's right.
The one where he becomes Misha's Beach.
Right.
And look, I can make this joke. Me and Mark are bros.
Me and Mark are
We're thick as thieves. So, Mark, a quick question. The licking of the floor bit. Licking of the floor.
Kill me now, please.
Here's a quick question. The licking of the floor. Improv? Or did you make it up on the spot?
Either or. Which one?
This is what I go through day in, day out.
Hey,
I was an actor. I was really happy. I was working quite a lot. They bring me in. This is what they do to me. They've done this to me for 8 seasons.
Mark, you should be glad it was floor licking. I had a hand in pitching that story, and I had it being nipple clamps. But you know what? I got dabbed.
Oh, you got dabbed, huh? Yeah, it happens.
I was on board.
Okay.
Thank you, Rob.
Yeah, you're
You
welcome.
have soft hands like girl.
Soft hands like girl.
Okay. But in all seriousness, Mark,
Really? You're gonna follow that with a question?
how about you? We're talking about family, and what about your family?
Oh God.
Yes?
That's been a boon for you these days, hasn't it?
Oh, it's been fantastic. Best years of my life. Your relationship with your mother, Rowena. That's right. Your son, Gavin. Are we gonna? How's that gonna play out? Are we gonna see more of
It
your
never
family?
goes well with witches. Well, I don't know. There's a hint that my family dynamic may be returning in a sort of slightly more expanded scale. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that turns out, because it never turns out well. I genuinely love Ruth, but I cannot stand Rowena. But yeah, it's been fun.
Rob,
Yes?
quick question. It's actually more of a quiz.
Okay.
What do I like more than a bottle of bourbon?
I don't know what what do you like more than a bottle of bourbon?
5 feet 2 inches of scotch.
Oh, well, then you're in for a treat because we have Ruth Connell here, everybody.
Family, Ruth. Ruth, family.
Family schmamily.
This is your boy you're dealing with now.
This is what I've got to work with. My wee
You
sausage.
get the hamster. You get the hamster.
Family storylines, very important this year. You obviously have a contentious relationship. However, an important one. Where do you see it going this year?
Downhill fast.
Honesty's important.
That's it. No, yeah. I don't think Rowena knows that she's a grandmother. You mentioned Gavin. I'm not sure she's ready to be a glamorous granny just yet. We'll see how if she finds out. It's not a spoiler. I literally don't know, but it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out and to see how much we can annoy each other. Eh, my wee sausage?
Andrew, speaking of Gavin, do you have any plans to bring back any characters that you can talk about? Are we going to see any people we know?
Yeah, we're gonna see. I think a lot of people we know. Everybody you're yelling out. They're all back. But I think especially as we kind of meet some hunters, so Jody will come back, Donna will be back, Claire and Alex will be back. Gavin will be back.
For reals with Rowena and Crowley, that family storyline, are we going to be exploring that more deeply this season?
I think so, and I think the interesting thing with Rowena is that, you know, she had this big move last season where she, you know, had a hand in freeing Lucifer and had a hand in trying to put him back. And I think when we meet her this season, she's kind of gone in a different direction. This is a character that's been kind of wanted to be the power behind the throne, behind about 5 different thrones since we've met her, in terms of Crowley and Lucifer. And I think when we meet her this season, she's taken a step back and she's like, is this something I really want to do? So we're going to meet her in kind of a, I think, funny and cool mindset. But then as she gets kind of drawn back into the world. And then in terms of Crowley, for him, you know, Lucifer's still out there. He's not king of hell when we start the season. The question for him is going to be like, what does he ultimately want? In the short term, it's pretty simple. He wants revenge. He wants Lucifer. That licking of the floor thing, which was not scripted, you know, but it seemed to have resonance. Yeah, he wanted to do more, but we were like, no, Mark, you have to keep your shirt on. Like, it's not cool. Like, I don't know. He has his own ball gag. That was weird. But I think, you know, so
He's very method.
early on, you know, that will be a very driving force. But beyond that, I think with Crowley, you know, the family stuff, and again, Crowley's relationship with the guys has kind of evolved, I think, very nicely over the course of the last 2 seasons, and we want to keep that going.
Awesome. BYO ball gag. I like
That's
that.
right.
So you mentioned Lucifer. He's still out there.
Yes.
Where, you know, he's looking for a vessel. Can we know where he ends up? Bob? Robert?
I was so transfixed by Andrew. Well, Lucifer is going to try out a few different vessels. He's not. First of all, you know, to hold Lucifer, you need a really strong vessel. And the first vessel that he kind of feels comfortable with is a rock star, who's a little bit on the downside, but is trying to make a bit of a comeback. And Lucifer says, "This is my kind of guy." His name is Vince Vincente. We'll be seeing him in a couple of episodes early on.
That's exciting.
I'm on pins and needles, Bobby.
Well,
And have we cast that role yet?
we actually have cast that role. Well, you know, you can.
Who?
We've whispered it to you guys, so you know who it is.
Rick Springfield is going to be the new Satan, believe it or not. Andrew, how did that come about? How did he get involved, and how was that decision made?
Well, basically, we knew we wanted to put him in a rock star because, one, it's just kind of interesting. You know, Lucifer, he got what he wanted last season. He got his face-to-face with God, you know, who's kind of a dick, but whatever, it's cool. And, that's how I wrote him. Sorry.
Sorry. Interpreted.
So, but, you know, for him, he's kind of out in the world, ruling heaven, ruling hell. It lacks an appeal. And we're seeing Lucifer that's kind of on vacation. He wants to have some fun. But what he's realized is that when your name is Lucifer, it carries a certain amount of baggage. And so hopping into bodies, he kind of possesses this kind of, faded, as Bob was saying, rock star Vince Vincente. And we're like, we'd really like to get somebody who could perform or do this kind of stuff. And they recommended Rick Springfield, who, if you've seen Ricky and the Flash recently or True Detective, he was in both of those and he was great. And he's just doing an amazing, amazing job. So we're really excited for you to all see what he can do.
I think it's time to get some questions
Let's
from the
open it
audience. You guys have any questions for the boys? We're going to do a little Q&A from you people because you're the reason why the show's on TV. So here we go.
In season 11, when Cass took over the vessel from Lucifer, what do you think his punishment was?
His punishment was partly that he was inhabited by Lucifer, which is in and of itself a punishment. I think that Cass made that choice because he kind of felt like he had failed. He had let everyone down, and he was really down on himself at that point. So it was a kind of a kamikaze move where it was a bit of self-sacrifice and a bit of self-loathing peppered in there that I think compelled him to make that choice. And also, Sam and Dean now regularly whip him with towels.
On and offset.
That's right.
I'm wondering on your take on the supernatural personally, and since you started the show, if you've, for example, been camping and thought, oh, wow, is that a Wendigo or something?
I haven't seen a Wendigo yet, but Jensen and I, so we both live in Austin with our families. We walked into it was like a restaurant or a bar or something, and somebody sitting there looked at us and goes, damn, are you here to kill ghosts or something? Like they seemed genuinely concerned. They were like, man, the Winchesters are here. There's there's a demon in the back, yeah. Every now and again, if the lights flicker or if it gets cold, I'm like, don't worry, guys, I got it.
I feel like the paranormal and the supernatural would probably be smart enough to steer clear of two guys who have spent over a decade portraying hunters. They may have picked up a trick or two, and I feel like they're probably going to steer clear of us. That being said, if we ever do run into an issue, I feel like I could handle myself.
Cut to Jensen running, screaming.
Screaming.
Well, you heard it here first.
Cut to yellow fever.
You heard
It's just a cat, Jensen. It's just a cat.
It was scary.
It was scary.
For any spirits in the underworld listening today, Jensen Ackles just laid down the challenge. So there you go. Have at him.
Bring it.
So I have a question, and if I'm able to ask it, if not, I have a backup question. But in honor of season 12, I actually had a very special question for my girlfriend.
Yes. Yes.
Are you guys sure?
Yeah.
Will you come up here?
That was your question? Will you come up here?
That was your question. You used it up.
How much does she know about the show?
We've been watching your show from the very beginning, and we want to share this very special moment with our friends and family here at Comic-Con. We love you all. Thank you very much for everything that you do. And I want to say to you, my love, I've loved you since the very first moment that I saw you. You are the sun that brightens my day, and you are the moon of my life. I can't think of anybody else I would want by my side, slaying zombies and killing vampires and killing demons and whatever else is out there. Wendigos, those things. So what I'm trying to ask you, I think this comes off. Let's try it out. Okay. Ashley Elizabeth Rhodes, will you marry me?
If she says no, this is going to get awkward.
He said yes. He said yes. We're hugging now.
For the play-by-play, Robbie.
Kiss her. Kiss her.
Kiss her.
All right, get a room, get a room, get a room.
Thank you, guys.
Thank God she said yes. That was a nail biter.
Love.
Congratulations.
I think it's a beautiful thing when a satanically themed television show can bring people together.
So
So Jensen posted a photo for Jared's birthday. Happy late birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
And it had your kids and said you guys were gonna have, you're raising a future generation of hunters. And so my question is, what would you guys like that to look like if all of your kids had a spin-off? And would you guys like to come back as like a Bobby or something?
They're already kind of a gang as it is. As some of you know, Jared has 2 sons. I have a daughter. And the other day, my daughter, we were talking about his 2 boys. And I was like, oh, are they your friends? And she goes, no, they're my boys. She's just turned 3. And so we might not have a choice in the matter. They might just be doing whatever they're going to do. And I assume that, they're going to want to stay in the family business.
Well said.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So this goes for any of you who want to answer the question. What's a facet in your character's personas that you haven't explored yet, or you haven't explored as deeply as you'd like to, and how would you like to do that?
Killing billions of people.
You have explored that.
Oh, right, yeah.
Having Mom back is something really interesting for me as a person, as Jared Padalecki to explore, but also for Sam Winchester. Seeing these guys, Sam and Dean, they even though they grew up with a father, they kind of grew up on their own because their father was one-track minded. He was after Azazel. He was after Yellow-Eyed Demon. He wanted to exact vengeance. And so they kind of raised each other, but they never really had a proper family dynamic as far as them being sons. We've seen these guys as heroes. We've seen them sacrificing for each other, for people they don't know. But we haven't really seen them in this position where, because even when we saw Sam, just to talk about my own journey, even when we saw him with his father, he had a very contentious relationship. It was more like, it wasn't like, oh, Dad, like, I love you. It was like, Dad, like, I want to, like, how dare you, Looking back at my childhood, like, you put a 45 under my pillow. Like, that's messed up. So seeing his mother, somebody he loves and looks up to, and getting to be a boy again is going to be really interesting, and I'm glad we get to explore that.
As Mary, it's pretty much anything except like the perfect mom persona. Like everything else is open because that's all it's been so far. It's just sort of cookies. So I could
Or,
cook
I'm on
them
fire.
myself. Yeah.
Too soon?
Yeah, really? Guys, it's been like, yeah.
I want to see, and I think we will, but I'd like to see the hunter side of Mary. And it'll be interesting to see the similarities between what and how she deals with the supernatural and how the boys deal with it, because she is their mother, and so those kind of similarities might be really fun to explore. I think that'd be cool.
This is about the fan fiction episode from season 10. Is it based off of real fan fiction for Supernatural?
It was not based off a specific fan fiction, but I think it was based off a lot of things that we're aware of from our fans on social media and things like that, where you guys are great. And that episode was really kind of a tribute to you, and I'm glad people liked it so much.
This has been a fantastic panel. Gentlemen, parting words, final thoughts?
Only parting thought was I don't think you ever get into a year 12 if you don't have incredible fans like you people out there. And not only with the ratings of the show and all the support, but that you encourage us to keep making the show as original as we can and to not retread storylines and not sit on our laurels, but to keep the show fresh. And I think, to get up every day, especially for me, being here from the beginning, and to try to do that, you have to draw an inspiration from the fan base and what you guys expect from us. So, we think season 12 is a great testament to you, and we thank you for that.
Well said.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Supernatural Season 12, your Comic-Con panel, right there.